Hey guys, welcome to Maths Recovery with Rebecca. So today's lesson, we are going to be looking at an extended part of binomial factorization. So basically what we've looked at so far is just common factor as well as dots, but now that's grade 9. So what I'm going to do in this session, I am going to do a continued binomial factorization session. So I'm going to be looking at the type of factorization that you guys do in grade 10. So if you are in grade 9 and you're watching this video, go right ahead, watch it, be ahead of class. It's always fun. Or if you're in grade 10, just continue watching this. This is the sum and difference of two cubes. So remember, we always start off by looking at the checklist. Our checklist at the moment has binomials, common factors, and dots. That's what we've been looking at. We're going to be adding a new one, sum and difference of two cubes. So I like to use a mnemonic to learn this one because it's got quite a lot of process to it. So I like to use sad cubes, use soap. I don't know what your teacher does, but I enjoy using this one. Okay, so here's it over here. Sad cubes, use soap. So what do these things even mean? So sad is talking about sum and difference because when we're looking at cubes, we're looking at the sum and we're looking at the difference. So with a difference of squares, remember we were just looking at the minuses. So now we're going to be looking at plus and minus. Let's look at an example. So this is very similar to some difference of cubes. Let me get a pen here. Here we go. So remember, we're looking at cubes, which means now we're going to be looking at the cube root of each term. So let's look. We're looking at cube numbers. 1 is a cube number because 1 times 1 times 1. And 125 and B6 are all cube numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to show you how to use SOAP, and then after there I'm going to show you how to actually work out and factorize this. So the first thing is exactly what you would have done with difference of squares. So you'd cube the first, cube root of 1 is 1, cube root of 125, b to the 6 is 5b squared. Remember with the cubes, you just take this cube over here. Let me get let me get a pointer for you. I'm going to take the 3 and you're just going to divide it into the exponent. So it's the same as when you had the cube root, you would take the square root, you would take the 2 and you just divide it into the exponent. And also a nice thing just to remember is that exponents that are multiples of 3, that would be exponents that are cubes. Okay, so let's look at SOAP. Same, opposite, always positive. So what am I saying to you? This is what I'm saying to you. When we look at our signs, because now with cubes, we're going to have a binomial bracket and a trinomial bracket. So how this works is you use the same sign for the first bracket. Then you just, once we have our first bracket, we use the opposite sign for our next sign. So if your bracket here is a minus, the next sign is going to be a plus. If your bracket here is a plus, your next sign would be a minus. And then always positive would be the last sign. Always positive. So it's same as question, opposite as the first bracket, and always positive. Sad cubes use SOAP. Sum and different cubes use same, opposite, always positive. So let's see how I actually get the answer 1 minus 5b squared and the 1 plus 5b squared plus 25b to the 4. Okay, so let's take a look here. So what we're going to do is to get the first, so once we get our bracket, remember we get our first bracket by just cube rooting the first term, keeping the sign because of same, cube rooting the last term, then I'm going to get this first bracket. So let's look at the back trinomial. So what we're going to do is we're going to square the first term to get the first term, square the last term to get the last term, and then multiply the two together, ignoring the sign, because remember the sign was generated through opposite, multiplying the two things together, the 1 and the 5b squared, and getting 5b squared. So it's square the first to get the first, square the last to get the last, and multiply the two terms together in your first bracket to get your middle term. Okay, and then it's SOAP. Same sign as first, opposite sign, back guy, always positive. Let's look at an example. Okay, so you can pause it and you can give this one a try. I'm just going to pop over to a pen here. I think I'm going to choose white, just so it's standard. Okay, so remember, we're factorizing. So regardless of the fact that it's cube numbers or whatever, we always need to check for a common factor first. So we look at our coefficients, 8 and 27. I'm not seeing anything that's common over there. X cubed and y cubed, no common variable. Okay. Second thing, we'd be looking for squares. Well, we already know that 8 is not a square. And remember, with difference of squares, we need a minus. All three need to be correct. So it's not difference of squares. But 8's a cube. X cubed is a cube. Remember, it's sad, hey? Sum and difference. So it actually doesn't make a difference which one's there in the middle. 27 is a cube number, and y to the power of 6 is a cube number. So let's see. Let's see if we can do this. Cube root the first, and I'm going to get 2x, because remember that 3 just divides into that 3. SOAP. Same. Cube root this one. I'm going to get 3y squared. Okay. Then square the first. Opposite. Multiply the two together. And then always positive and square the last. So I hope you got that answer. Let's look at the next one. So let's look at an intermediate type of question. Now, remember our steps is common factor, dots, and then we can go sad cubes. Any common factor? Well, what I'm seeing is you first got to look for the coefficient factor and then a variable factor. So I'm seeing a coefficient factor of 25 because both of these, 25 and 200, can both be divided by 25. It's the highest common factor. Then I'm going to look at my variable factors. Well, both of them are b's and they have at least 4 b's that can come out. So let's check what we got left. Remember, whatever your common factor is, it needs to divide into each term. So we've got, sorry about that, if we divide 25b4 into 25, oh, what's happening here? It's not rubbing out. There we go. Into 25b7, what we're going to get is just b to the power of 3. And we're going to plus, divide 25b4 into 200b4, and I'm getting an 8. Because the b4s are going to cancel, and 25 divides into 200 8 times. So let's take a look. Are we dealing with difference of two squares? No. Because b3 is not a square number, and we need a minus for difference of two squares. So I'm seeing a cube number, sum or difference, and a cube number. So we're going to be using sad cubes. So keeping that common factor, remember we cube the first, keep the sign, because remember it's sad cubes uses soap. Same sign. And then what's the cube root of 8? That would be 2. Then it is opposite. But first we need to square the first, opposite, multiply the two together, always positive, square the last. And then we can ask ourselves, let me change this color here now. This is a trinomial. So, remember with the trinomial, it's in the next video. Two numbers. Let's get our multiplications over here. So this was Omar, right? So order, correct. Multiplication. So let's look at this. So to get a 4, it's 2 times 2 or 1 times 4. Any of these that are going to add to get a minus 2? Because remember, we can also change these to minus 2 times minus 2 and a minus 1 times a minus 4. I'm not seeing any that add to get a minus 2. So that means that whatever is written here is my answer. Okay, let's look at the last one. So this is a higher level question. I'm seeing a cube. This is a cube number. And I'm seeing another cube number. So what's the first thing? Common factor? Not seeing any. Okay. Then I'm going to look for dots. Difference of two squares. These are all cubes, so that's not going to work. Then I'm going to use sad cubes. And that is going to work because this is a cube number. This is a positive. Remember, it's sad, so it's sum or difference. And then this is a cube number. So let's take a look at what's happening here. So we're going to cube root the first, and I'm going to be left with an x minus 7 plus, because remember it's soap, same sign, keep the sign. If I cube the second one, I'm going to get 3x. So what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing variables that are the same. So when I go to my next step, I can actually go and simplify those variables. Okay, let's look at our next one. So, opposite. But the first thing we have to do is take this first term over here and square it. So it's going to be x minus 7 squared. And its opposite sign. Multiply the two together. And always positive. Square the last. Okay, some simplifying going on here. So I'm getting x plus 3x, and that is 4x minus 7. So you don't have to use these brackets. I'm just using them so that I can differentiate between what's happening. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, because this is a binomial squared, I have to double this bracket to be able to FOIL out. And then I'm just going to distribute this negative 3x in here, and I'm going to get a negative 3x squared, and then a positive 21x, I don't know why that lagged there, but sorry. Okay. So I'm going to move these all to just these rounded brackets. Now when I FOIL, remember it goes first, outers, inners, last. And I'm going to multiply. Okay. doing some simplifying here. This is what I'm getting. I'm also seeing that this last bracket over here, I can take out a 7. So at the end, this is what you're going to be looking at. Okay. So hopefully that was a higher level question, guys. So there's quite a few marks attached to this question. We've got our difference of two cubes. We've got our foiling, our doubling of our bracket. So there's quite a few marks attached to this question. But this would be the highest that you can expect to come out of this type of question. We'll see as we go through the factorizing examples if there's some more that I find along the way. And then we'll do some of those and we'll see if we can just ace them all. But that would be all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks.